time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
And sponsored by smashingpennies.net. Get 10% off your order with code Geocache Talk Network. They are perfect to put in a geocache. To Derek, Baker 6 Clan, for the graphics, and our featured patrons, Tricasius, Albedo 0.39, Purple Turtles 3, ACDC Family, None of It Tidy, Team Tailwagger, Super Nate, The Twonky, Burnt Turtles, Gazelli, and our new patrons, Baby Yoda Girl, B&J Bish, Nervous Energies, and returning patron, Husker Medic. And with me tonight is the foremost letter writer to geocaching.com, Jesse.
They banned me. I'm not allowed to write letters anymore.
Memphis Mafia. Yeah, we'll get into a little bit of that here in a little bit. But yeah, if you're along for the ride tonight, we would encourage you to put into the show, the chat room, any suggestions that you would like us to discuss, and we may not discuss them immediately, but we put a little tag on them, so it goes into our tag list, and we'll go through them as time goes along.
We'll try to hit them all.
Yeah, we'll try to get to all of them. So Tony wants to know if you're a Boy Scout yet. So
I think does it still have my thing on there from last time?
I guess so. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that was
Let's
it.
See. Oh yeah, not a Boy Scout. That's true. I'm still not a Boy Scout.
Still not a Boy
You
Scout.
still got scouted on yours too. It didn't show up on my thing to change though.
I know, that's weird. Yeah.
Let's see. That's a weird setting.
Yeah. I think I'm going to edit hide, and I'm going to change mine.
Yeah.
I'm going to take mine out.
Hide it out.
Take mine out.
Hide mine out too. How do I do that?
I got you. I got you covered, buddy.
There you go.
I got you covered.
It pops up in a different place now when we're starting up the show.
Yep, we took them out. Cool. Well, let's do a thing first here. So we announced a couple weeks ago the lineup for Podcast to Hope, and we left a placeholder for our St. Jude guest, which we've been fortunate to have the last few years. And this week we got our email from Jillian, who works in the she kind of works in the marketing department. She's a great resource for us, a good friend. We got to meet her in person in Memphis, and surprised us with a patient family at Cache Fest Memphis, which I'm wearing tonight. So Cache Fest Memphis was incredible to have a patient family there and hear their story and, try to, keep the tears out while I was up front there. But we had contacted Jillian and we said, hey, can we get somebody, and she's, yeah, I'm working on it. Let me, so we just put a placeholder. So, give her time. But she came back this week and said, how about the head of the fundraising division at St. Jude? We were like, thumbs up. Yeah. I mean, it's a big win for Podcast of Hope. I mean, there's thousands of people probably. I don't know what the total is, but there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people and corporations, and it takes everybody to do this.
Yeah, it takes a huge amount of people to raise that kind of money.
It really does, and we're just we're one of the cogs in the machine that needs to raise it. What's interesting, I read a couple of stats I want to give you guys, which is that this comes from our guest. So our guest, I should mention first, which is Shannon Goldberg Cruz. Shannon is the head of, they call it the Entertainment and Influence at St. Jude, which is the fundraising and awareness division. They just give her a fancy title, but she is she's going to be with us. Has a she hasn't been there very long, but she really has. She comes with a good pedigree of her past experience. So well positioned to really help St. Jude. A couple stats I got from her. One was, in the years ahead, an estimated 89% of the funds necessary to sustain and grow St. Jude must be raised by their fundraising division, ALSAC. ALSAC is sort of that portion of St. Jude. And it's basically from just donors. And we are part of that group that's, that's doing that. We talked about before the show started, about how, we're gonna pass 50,000 this year. It takes millions. We know that.
Yeah, millions.
We know it. We know it does. But the story that I always want people to remember, when we give $100 or we give $50 or whatever people are able to give, what I hope people will do is they'll remember this story, this parable of the starfish story. And some people are familiar with it, but the starfish story is, and I'm going to paraphrase it down, but go read the full story. But the starfish story is a little boy. He's walking along the beach, and he sees all these starfish have washed up onto the shore. And so he's walking this, and there's hundreds. I mean, probably hundreds and hundreds of starfish. And he's walking along. He's picking up the starfish and he's throwing them back in the ocean. And this other guy is coming the other direction, and he stops the boy and goes, "What are you doing? I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of starfish out here. You're wasting your time." And the boy doesn't say anything. He just reaches down, he picks up a starfish, he throws it back in the ocean, and he goes, "I made a difference to that one." So your money, your donation makes a difference. It does.
Important to remember. Like it's, if you look at their budget and the overwhelming amount they need to do all the research, it feels like you can't make a difference, right? It's millions of dollars. And obviously we can't scratch that, but every little bit helps. And to kind of emphasize that, you're talking about millions of dollars it takes to do cancer research, right? And it's not just cancer, but that's the main one everybody knows, right?
The main one.
But so if you think that it doesn't make a difference with a little bit we're doing, they wouldn't send the head of that department out to our little podcast if they didn't value everybody that helps them with their goals. So, just like the starfish story, our little podcast, which this person's probably never even heard of geocaching, or, there's so many things they haven't heard of, right? but they're taking their time out on a weekend to come and show on our show just to show value in it. So that's the exact same thing as that little boy, right?
Yeah.
We can't scratch their budget for what they need.
Yeah.
But every little bit matters, and they value it. So I think that's I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Every dime, every penny, we talk about, in Chronicle Time, pennies, nickels, dimes add up. They really do. And that's a good example. We talk about, Coins for Kids, one of our major sponsors of this, and everybody can be involved in Coins for Kids. And we're going to try to really highlight them even more. They'll be on for the 11 p.m. Central Time slot as we
the
try to
final
give them
hour.
Yeah, try to give them the last hour to really highlight that. But Jason Hailmeister, he added up all he's raised this year, and there's people give him.
We don't want to say how much yet. Don't say.
No, we don't.
Yet.
But still, he showed a photo of it. And it's like it adds up. It really does, and people will, people do that. And one thing we always do also is we mention, when you give, say, $50, there's a list that St. Jude gives. You can go onto their website and look too, and it'll tell you how much, your $50 just took care of, a day's worth of oxygen or what, there's, they break it down to give you a really good idea of what all of that means. And then the last thing I want to say, well, two things. Me, I've always got two.
Of course.
One is the Podcast to Hope is 20 days away. I forgot to mention that.
So close. It's gonna be a fun night too.
20 days is all the time. But the other stat that she had on there that I want to really drive home is every day 43 children in the U.S. are diagnosed with cancer. Yeah.
How do you even wrap your brain around that?
I don't know. So, all right, let's dive in. So,
do it.
A few weeks ago, we did a poll on the Geocache Talk group. If you're not part of that, go do a quick search for Geocache Talk on Facebook and join that group, because we're trying to do more and more with everyone who is part of that. And so we did a poll, thanks to Pizza Ninja, and Pizza Ninja put that out, and we have the poll results tonight. And you and I have some other suggestions as well. So
yeah. Now, if I understand this right, we're sending this to Brian, and he's gonna, whatever one we talk about, the highest voted one, he's gonna change immediately, right? In geocaching for real. Isn't that what he said? No.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing when you say that, though. Here's the interesting thing, and that is they do listen. Remember we talked about, we did the show about attributes. We came up with our 3 attributes that we wanted to.
Well,
and he mentioned to us later, he goes, I listened to that show that you guys did on the attributes. Yeah. So I have a feeling that this podcast tonight, it's going to make its way to Brian. It's going to make its way to Rock Chalk. And
as much as we joke about it, right? Obviously they don't take advice from us, but there's people out there that do listen to the show, and what our show does, not because Gary and I have anything to do with it, but we're one of the voices that reflect what people are thinking. Yeah. So we're kind of reporting out and we're kind of summarizing a lot of what people think. So all that in, but geocaching has always been really good. HQ, I guess, say.
Yeah.
The Frog Signal has always been really good about.
Yeah.
They've always been really good about listening to what geocachers in general say, and then try to find a way to not piss off half of them.
Yeah.
Right. Because every time you change any little thing, he's talked about that before. I think both in private and public, right? That we try to make this change a lot of people want, and now there's going to be 30% of people who think it's the worst thing that the devil ever came up with. Yeah, but it's going to make these people super happy and then not. So, as we've said many times, I would never want to have to make that decision. But since we don't, we're going to bring up all the stuff we would change if we could. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we don't have to worry about any backlash.
We don't have to worry about.
Doesn't matter. It's not real. So.
Yeah. Not only backlash, but all of the engineering that it would take, all of
gosh. First of all, we're not going to talk about all that stuff tonight.
No.
That would bring the room down. What we're going to talk about is just what we want to see happen, just for fun. Yeah.
Now, this first one is going to get a good chunk of discussion because
look at that.
Follows me on the TikTok. Yeah, I can die happy now. There you go.
That shows that they do pay, it's not like Amazon. Amazon doesn't really care what one person thinks about something.
Right.
HQ does pay attention to their people, a little bit smaller of an operation. So
yeah.
Even with millions of cashers, it's still smaller than Amazon. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not to, well, I'm going to toot our own horn. We have built a great, podcasting network, and we have had some influence really over the years. If you think back, they came to us to test the leaderboard, the first time we were the big. So
awesome, by the way. But I'm going to get into that tonight. So I do have that on my list. So let's jump right into this. I want to run out of everybody's time for everybody's. We had a lot of people make comments on this one, so this is
the number one on the poll was this one, Jesse. At 53%, allow new webcams. 22 votes received. Submitted by Stacy.
What are your thoughts on that? You go first, because you have an idea of mine. You're being nice. I'll do it. I'll go first.
I don't know what to think of this.
Webcams suck.
I know.
Here's what I'll say about it, though. That's not an unequivocal statement.
Yeah.
Webcams currently suck because it's just taking a selfie. The only reason anybody cares about webcams is because they're extremely rare. If they brought them back, they wouldn't be rare. Now, having said that, webcams in their current version suck. But their current version is like a 20-year-old version. That doesn't apply now, right? If you can stand in a parking lot and take a selfie, basically is what you're doing. You're screenshotting your phone. That's a lame cache. It's only cool because they're old. Having said that, because they're so rare, we definitely go after them, right? But what if they added something to it? So what if they, they're rare still because, like we talked about before, the geotours.
Yeah.
There's a reason to go to a geotour now if you got webcams coming out with them. And only geotours. Or you added another level of complexity, and they can do this because they can make their own rules. Unmaintained webcams. We could talk all night about them. They should all be archived, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to archive until I get them. But, now if you had to do something else, like you have to take a picture with, a frog or, some kind of frog thing, like for Signal or something that added a level of complexity to it, or you had to do it as a group, or something that made it more than just taking a selfie in the traffic way or whatever in a parking lot of a school. If they added something new to it, I'd be all about webcams coming out in a new version. But to just say go and take a selfie with your phone, because like in the back in the day, they had to call home and do a screenshot of the on the camera computer and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's cool. But Ring door. It's bad enough now. You go up to the wrong house to do a Ring doorbell because there's a Ring doorbell everywhere. I mean, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
You read the Rad Dad one. We could all have webcam front yard caches with Ring doorbells.
Could you imagine how that could go wrong?
Oh my gosh!
What city you're in? You're going up trying to get your picture in the Ring cam. Yeah, that sounds like
everybody waving. Is that
I would say webcams in their current form, the old ones, they're lame. Today, they would have been awesome back. I wish I'd have done them like when they originally came out. That'd been awesome. You have to call somebody, and they have to take a screenshot from their house and then email it to you and stuff. That'd be cool. That was something hard. So I would only bring webcams back if they added a cool new layer to it, which they could. I'm sure they could figure out something, right?
Yeah. If you if you let the Ring doorbell ones, does that sort of turn into the
it's private residence, right? I mean, that's the
no,
what do you call it? What's the
it ended up being the waymark of webcams.
Yeah, oh gosh, there'll be millions of them. They'd be worth nothing.
All right,
but if
next
you added
one.
something else, they could be cool. I can see why we could do some of that. Okay.
All right, next one, and we do have some. I do want to point out. Top Hat cachers. I've got yours. I highlighted it. We're gonna get to yours here in a few minutes. So everybody send in your suggestions. We will get to them. So don't think don't think you've been skipped. I'm queuing them up. So anyway, so the next one is get to the banners. Gary's getting his act together tonight. 25%. Relaxed challenge cache rules, but must have a checker. This was submitted by Rich Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Good old R. Reagan. And that came in second. That one is interesting, and I don't know what to think about it. So you're more of the challenge cache guy.
Yeah, I love it. Now, having said that, despite what a lot of people think, I'm in favor of the new rules because I hated those old. I mean, they still should stay there. The pre-moratorium challenges,
mm-hmm.
like spell my cat's name and stuff like that. And
yeah.
However, as long as they can make a checker for it, and he fits all the other rules, I would love to see them expand. And one that's on my list later that I put down there is like we talked about the other day, the adventure. Now that there's the categories for the adventure labs, or adventures instead of adventure labs, but
adventures,
I think that's a great idea. As long as you can do a checker tied in, I hope they don't get away from that because that was one of the smartest things they've done because you can tell immediately without having one of those old cachers that want you to email them and then they want to have a discussion about it or they don't answer for 5 days or whatever, and that may be the only challenge you did in an area or something as you're traveling. That stuff is gone, and then reviewers are tied up constantly with arguments over stuff.
Right.
Well, this wasn't in a city; it was at the edge of a city. Stop.
Right.
As long as it's got a checker on it, this is my favorite suggestion so far that we've talked about by far. Expand challenges as much as you can, as long as there's a checker.
Okay.
I think that's awesome.
That is interesting. I did because I never thought about the fact that. Because I know that you and Minnie are big fans of the post-moratorium challenge.
Yes.
So
and
pre-moratorium
says what should be relaxed. Well,
what parts?
Things like streaks, and I know they got to set a limit, but there's people. Realistically, there's people that do much longer streaks, right? Or calendar things, or certain lists. But if you can build a checker on it, and it's reasonably attainable and stuff like that, I think there's a lot of things they could stretch on.
Right. I got you. Okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah, there's always it's cachers. We always know cachers find a way to get around the rules, without a doubt, right? There are secret rules regarding some challenges. Yeah, that's true. There's always going to be some stuff, and that's fine. But in general, expand the rules as much as you can concretely go, they're qualified or they're not qualified. I say keep expanding that. Why not have a triple Jasmer? They won't let you do that. Why not have it? I know only a few people can do it, but it's still an awesome thing that some people are trying to do, right?
Yeah. Does that, the triple Jasmer though, does that fall under the post-moratorium rule that it has to have been done by a certain number of people? Is that?
No, because there's a lot of people that have done a triple Jasmer. It's just one of the things they won't allow. Reviewers will not allow a triple Jasmer challenge.
All right.
Interesting. I forget where I read it, but it's somewhere, and we can have. I think if there's a reviewer in here, they can confirm it tonight. But they won't allow. They'll do a double, but they won't allow a triple.
Won't allow a triple. It's interesting
because
you're thinking
post-moratorium ones. Pre-moratorium ones out there because I've signed one, but they won't allow a new one of it. Which, anyway, that's a whole nother story, right?
That's weird. All right. Next one.
Okay.
This one got an 8% vote. Allow for additional logging requirements, the old ALR, like a QR code or a secret word that has to be emailed to someone to be able to claim a find.
So I love the idea.
I do too.
But I think it needs to be something special, not just every cache, right? Because that slows down everything.
Sure, right.
Imagine if every time you found a cache, you had to do something additional to it. That would be a pain in the butt. And then let's say, let's be realistic for just a second.
Yeah.
People don't maintain their crap.
Right.
So imagine a QR code, 30 caches you do, 20 of them have a hardly visible QR code. Now you got to call the owner. The owner says, well, you should have found it. No, your QR code's messed up. Okay, I'll go check it. It takes them a week. Now do you have to go back and find that cache or what? So it can become a pain in the butt real quick.
It can. It can.
I mean, imagine now a secret code in some of these caches. Cool. But not like a 1-1 power trail cache. If they said it like, this has to be a certain type of cache and that kind of cache can have an ALR because, it's a multi or it's something that's you're spending more time doing and they're trying to confirm at the end of it that people are actually finding it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you would do, but people can share code. Yeah, there's ways to cheat it around big time, right?
UDAC says people could share code words for our audio folks.
I can see things like extreme things doing it. Like, what's one of the most common things people cheat with? What would you, if you just thought about something that actually
5-5?
Not even a category type, a type of hide.
Type of hide?
Yeah.
Because
you've cheated on it before. Everybody's cheated on it before.
Where I goes, virtuals?
No. Again, a type of hide, not an icon.
Pardon me. I'm sneezing tonight.
When I say what it is, you'll know exactly, and you'll have to admit to cheating on it.
Tree climb. I'm trying to think.
Yep, that's it.
Tree climb?
Tree climb. People cheat so bad on tree climbs. Now imagine if you had to send a picture or post a picture of you in that tree with the cache.
Well, that's not bad.
To me, that makes sense, right? That's one where you go, I found it. And not just my name's on the log, but here's me signing that log.
Yeah.
Power trails. Look.
Hodag.
And
Happy Hodag mentioned it.
Power trails. People cheat on power trails all the time. But look at this one. I wonder why he likes that rule.
Chandram. Yeah.
Take
an arborist.
So, in situations like that, like a tree hide, and I mean a tree hide, like climb, right?
Yeah.
Not the pine tree, the ones, my nemesis with the green bison that's 2 feet in front of me and I can't see it. But, if you, something like that makes sense to me. But just slapping a QR code all the time just to do something extra,
right?
That would be such a pain. But yes, I would absolutely vote for additional logging requirements for certain types of caches.
Yeah, takes a damn arborist to tell us that it's a good idea. Just
or
kidding.
Another one would be like where I goes. Many people cheat where it goes. They just crack the code, look at it, get the answer, and go in.
Oh,
if you could say
the reverse
stage
ones.
3, I need a picture of you at stage 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I like Nell. I can see that. I can see Nell's. He takes pictures down from the tree.
Yeah.
I can see Nell's doing that.
Well, and then you got UDAC says people still cache with GPSR. As hard as it is to believe, that is true.
Yeah,
people still cache with GPSR. However, they also can't do Adventure Labs. So
they're carrying.
There's some things they're excluded from anyway, which is exactly why I wouldn't want all caches to have like QR codes and stuff, because that would just be it's not Munzie, right? That's a different game. We don't play that game.
Everybody's carrying a phone. We could do QR codes. Yeah, chronically tired mound sounds like Munzie.
Yeah, so we wouldn't want that all the time, but I could see it in specific situations. Like there's already ALRs out there, right? Virtuals, Earth caches, those all have additional logging requirements.
Yeah,
webcams, those are that's their main logging requirement. But you know what I mean? There's stuff out there that you have to do additional stuff for. I'm all about that. I just wouldn't want it to be everything.
Yeah, Jen mentions the ALR of needing a secret word is basically an adventure lab requirement for some.
And that
some
is a way
labs.
to, yeah.
Not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah. She's right, though. That is that's the way they're doing it to confirm that you're actually there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next one. All right. I didn't get into the banners. It'll take me a second.
Let's see what you got.
All right, here we go. Next one on the list. This Trisha gave this one. 4% waypoints on the app cache page without having to click on waypoints. 2 votes. I'm trying to figure out what's Trisha waypoints.
So like app. Parking, other things like that, without having to go into cache, like a trailhead, things like that.
Oh, okay.
When good cache owners actually do what they should do and put those valuable, very valuable pieces of information in there. A lot of them don't have it. But if you're doing ones that are like on trails or there's a parking spot or something like that, or, start here kind of deal, I can see that. Now, that seems like, so on the cache page, let me click. I would assume she's meaning mobile, not sitting at the computer looking at it, right? Would you make that assumption?
Yes. Sorry, I was sneezing.
Okay. So that could be
it's allergies too. It's not a cold. I got silly allergies going on today. So yeah.
To me, that seems like a mobile version. So if that's a geocaching, if that's a Cachely thing, I can see how that would be convenient. Now, to me, it doesn't affect how I do it because when I look at one, I dig into one. One like that, I dig into it pretty good anyway. But I can definitely see how if you want to toggle that on or off, that could be very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a toggle, right? So you're not going to have, because somebody can have 50 waypoints or something. You would never have 50 waypoints, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get the idea.
You wouldn't want that clogging up the screen. But if you were able as an individual user to toggle that on and off, I think that would be that's one of those very advanced features.
Yeah. Nels mentions that Cachely kind of does that, so that's good.
Yeah. It does in a sense, yeah.
Trish is with us tonight. That's nice. On the browser, the chords are right on the page. So she's saying she wants it to show up right on the page, like the chords. Yeah.
I'm not against that at all. Anything that allows more functionality for users to cache in the way that they cache, I think is always a great thing. And I believe that's a realistic one. Like a lot of the stuff we've been saying may or may not happen, but I think that's one that you could actually send into Nick in the specific way you're looking for it, or to HQ, and they would take that into consideration and do that for real.
I agree. And, maybe Nick could, if send something to Nick, he might be able to tweak also to enhance it a little bit.
And if Nick doesn't do it exactly as she said, I would send that into Nick. If you're a Cachely user, he is very responsive about trying to add features for the different ways individual cachers, go about the game.
Yeah, he's willing. He's more than willing to take suggestions on how to enhance or tweak a little bit. Absolutely. All right, next one. 4% of votes for an icon for hiding geocaches. This was by Steve Craybill.
I'm not sure exactly. I looked at this one for a while. And I don't know exactly
an
how did you interpret this one
for hiding. I think he means a souvenir.
Or maybe it's on your profile.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know, because on your profile it shows your cache is hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a souvenir.
Steve might have to elaborate on that one. Yeah, that's what Jen. We were thinking the same thing, Jen. It's
or maybe like how you said.
It's CGO, by the way. I forgot to mention that. CGO has the waypoints also. So good. That's good to know.
There you go.
Thank you. Sorry, y'all. I didn't try to diss Android, at least not tonight. I just forgot to click on that.
Yeah.
So
so I don't know what the icon would be for. You get icons with each one you hide. Maybe like on your profile where it says like charter member or whatever.
Yeah.
Something that says
that you're a hider.
Geocache hider, right?
Yeah.
And then now we talked about this, and Christy and I talked about this, and I'll give you her suggestions later. But we talked about this, and I think I would love to see this, but I wouldn't want to see it as let's say it's part of your profile, right?
Yeah.
Now on your cache page, it shows how many caches you've hidden, how many favorite points, and everything else. But if it was something on your name that shows up on every time you log a cache and everything else, I think there'd be more value in it if it said like quality hider or elite hider, but had some qualifications. Not like he hid a 200, 1-1 power trail. That's awesome, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's hitting anything of quality. He, she,
Sure.
I keep saying he because of Steve, But now if it was like you've hidden 100 caches, but 50 of those had 10 or more favorite points, that would put you into an elite status, I would think, right? If they set some kind of like, not only have to hide them, but it has to be found and people like them, then to me, that seems like that's a status that you would go, oh, crap, this guy's hidden a bunch of caches. They're usually high quality. I may want to check on that cache. To me, that may be even more important when I'm going through an area than favorite points, because it may be a new cache that's awesome that hadn't been hit a lot yet. But if you go, this guy hides quality caches, that would draw me to that area. And I think, because I know how competitive people are, caches must be maintained. Yeah, like if you have a cache that's currently on maintenance,
Andrea's
been on maintenance for 2 weeks, you may lose elite status, right? It's kind of like the airlines. But I mean, think about, there's definitely cachers that whatever the parameters are set, and let's say it's bronze, silver, gold level or whatever, cachers will do what it takes, the behavior that it takes to get to that elite status. There is no doubt, right? If you're shown as the gold level elite, you would do what it takes. If that means maintaining caches and hiding caches that people like, I'm thinking that's going to be an encouraging thing.
Is there one for in badge gen for that?
For what specifically?
There's
one for favorite points. There's one for cache hiding. There's nothing that's like
quality.
He's an elite, one that combines all those things. But
yeah.
I keep changing my mind, but I think currently now Steve has got my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because this would encourage behavior, like an Airbnb. Yeah.
Airbnb
like
Superhost.
Or like a Delta Miles program or whoever, you fly with, or like
it's like
points, you get VIP status. I think that would be huge in shaping behavior, because people would do what it takes to get that status and keep that status.
Yeah. There's
a hider badge in and there's one for favorite points
there
too.
Is, but I agree. I think what we've all come to the conclusion on this particular one that we all agree on is that it would be nice to have a badge of quality that's sort of that's we all is a standard, and obviously you can't get it, somebody else has to give it to you, so you're not picking your own. I have the badge of quality because I gave it to myself. That doesn't work like that. It has to be
something automated, right, where there's like clear standards for it.
All right. Oh yeah, we got some more coming our way. Good. Thanks Top Hatter. I'm gonna Top Hat Cachers. I've highlighted another one.
Oh, I was doing the same thing. I was highlighting.
Oh, we both did it at the same time.
Yeah.
Go ahead and star that one. We'll move on to the next one. Good. Thank you, sir. We'll get to those in a minute. Next on the list is, and I'm vamping because I'm now putting it into banners, and here we go. In the app, add the cache owner's name to the cache preview on the main map, so you don't have to open the whole cache page. That was submitted by Andrew Bell on the Move. So he wants you to be able to look on the map and go, I can just hover or whatever different things people do for the various maps, and I can go, that's a Bell on the Move cache. I don't even have to open it. I know that's a good cache.
Right.
I think that's what Andrew's going to get.
Yeah, I believe so. And there's a few things that does. One, in old caches, old challenge caches, there was a lot of them where you were looking for cache names, cache hider names. So I think of that. But two, that assumes that this is way deeper in than the casual cacher, right? Because a lot of cachers don't know caches by cacher name. They don't know a lot of people's name stuff. This is for people who've been caching for a while.
Yeah.
And I would say where I think it's beneficial is combining it with the previous one. so that new and old people could tell. Like, it showed the cache owner's name and their status, right? Like VIP, elite, whatever we talked about, quality.
Yeah.
So that's giving double piece of information for new and old cachers, right? Like, we know a lot of cachers and cache hiders, and we go, oh, this is a so-and-so cache. I'm obviously stopping for that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think also, let's say for a moment that we're talking about mobile platforms, right? So
yeah,
on the computer, you're usually going slow. It's easy to check everything.
True.
Out in the field, Geocachely, or the geocaching app.
Yeah.
I think, again, it comes down to toggling on and off, because there's only so much information you can have on that little map screen when you click on something.
True.
So I would love to see that as a toggle on and off thing, in combination with the other one of, like, this is hidden by Bell on the Move. He's a quality cache hider, their little ribbon beside it or something. That gives a lot more people a lot more information at a quick. But a lot of people don't care about that, and you just want to have, I'm just looking for caches, and you can toggle that on and off inside your app.
Yeah, I like the toggle idea, because for some people it means something, for others it doesn't. And so you don't want it to be there all the time if you don't want. So, if you're driving along and you're near Mingo and you want to pull up the map and see everything that Audie has, has hid, Audie Olson, you want to find an Audie cache, then you want to be able to sort of look at it and go, okay, I'm actually, this is a bad example. Let's say I'm a highway over. You're like, oh, I need to go 10 miles north and get on this other highway because he's got a ton of them on that highway.
Yeah.
He's only got 2 on this highway, but he's got like 15 on this other area. So I need to switch, because you're going after Audi caches or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for some people that means something. For others, like you said, that's not how they're going to cache. So I like it.
Well, I also like, it's kind of like the opposite of the ignore list. Instead of ignoring certain cachers or caches, it's like highlighting certain cachers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it. I think a couple of these could be combined to make some really functional upgrades.
Sure. All right, we're kind of getting to the end of the Geocache Talk poll ones, but
that's okay. I think other stuff.
Yeah, this is the last one. Okay. So we don't have to talk long about this because I don't know what to say about it, but I'll let you, because you've term limits for reviewers. Sounds like somebody's got a problem.
So I think there should be a process for getting a reviewer out if they're not adding something positive to the community, right? Like, you have an issue with the community, with a reviewer. However, I kind of look at this like bus drivers. We can't, I work in a school system. We cannot, and this is my third school system. You cannot hire enough bus drivers because most people are not crazy enough to do that job.
Right.
Like, you have to be a special breed of person that wants to help out to do that job.
To get up.
They're not getting paid tons. There's 100 screaming kids. You're driving the biggest thing on the road with no seat belts, and everybody's unhappy with you. That is just like being a reviewer.
You're like an umpire. Yeah. Everybody hates the umpires.
Yeah.
But they're doing a job, in whatever level of baseball, and they get they got no gratitude. All they get is the mom or dad in the stands who's losing their brains. They're losing whatever few brain cells are left to scream at somebody because their child was out at third or was not out at third, and by golly, they're going to be in the majors in a few years, and it's just ridiculous.
I see what somebody's saying about term limit for years. You don't want a bad reviewer staying there forever. So instead of term limits, I would say maybe occasionally there's a poll to find out, hey, do you think the reviewer in your area is doing a good job? That should be overwhelmingly yes, right? HQ has everybody's email. It would be easy to make sure their rating was high, right? But I wouldn't want to lose an awesome reviewer.
No.
Because, it's 2 years, you got to get somebody else. There's not enough people signing up. There's not a waiting list of people wanting to be a reviewer.
I like the idea, though, of we do this at our work. Many places do this. I call it the HAID survey. HAID stands for How Am I Doing?
Yeah.
Every year we should be able to review the reviewers. And if there's a clear issue and you get 100 people who send the same information to HQ and they say, this reviewer is doing X and it needs to stop, then maybe.
And then they work with them and get them better.
Yeah.
We
don't lose the reviewer, but
I see what you're saying with that.
Yeah, we don't lose the reviewer, but we have enough people who are like, look, you need to talk to the reviewer about X. And when they do, they're like, okay, fine. I mean, if people are really complaining about it, maybe the reviewer, will stop and think about.
Yeah. I have to assume that they're generally monitoring reviewer activity.
It's nice to have a way for us to. I mean, I like our reviewers in Texas. I've never. I mean, I know how to. I know how to do what they or I'm how to put this. I know what they want, and I'm not trying to get something that's not what other reviewers get. I just know what I just need. I know in Texas how to clearly communicate to our Texas reviewers what they're going to need. Now, if they have questions, they're going to ask, which is fine. But I'm just saying you have to kind of get to know the level. Like if you're a new cacher or you're a new hider, you're starting to just start at high caches. Don't get frustrated with your hiders. You just got to work through what they're going to need, because every hider is human. I mean, every reviewer is human, and they have certain things. I mean, they have to. It's kind of like it is. It's kind of like
we could do a whole show on reviewers, right?
Yeah, it is.
And we probably should do it again. We haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah,
and rules have changed. There's a lot of new reviewers and stuff like that. We know a lot of them. We should probably do a whole show about that coming up, I think.
I saw one
it's good to do every once in a while, because it's there's no, and I've said this a million times, I don't care who hears me say it, there is no way in
in this world
that I would ever consider doing that job.
Yeah. I saw one.
I think it would ruin the game for me.
Yeah. I did see one, by the way, in our chat room already. So, hats off to the reviewers. I know that they go through a lot, like you said. All right.
Yeah.
So I only have a couple. So let me give mine, and then I'll open the floor up to Jesse's 17 or whatever it is that he put.
I don't have that many. I'll get them all in before we leave, though.
I only have two.
Okay.
One of them I know they won't do.
Yeah.
But I wish they would. But we've talked to Brian about this before, and to pull it off would require quite a bit of engineering. But again, we're not talking about that tonight. We've got our wish list. My wish list is that they add a cache type. Any cache type. Please bring us a new cache type. Oh my God. Bring me a cache. There hasn't been a cache type in 20 years.
That's not true. Adventure Lab.
Adventure Lab is not a cache type. We will have this discussion one other day. Okay. It does not count.
Cool. Then we'll take all your Adventure Lab hide counts off.
Count them. Go. Yeah. Bring it. Big boy.
You can go back and delete them all. I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, bring it.
Okay. We'll get into that discussion the other night then. All
right. My favorite one to bring back would be the location lists, which they dumped. So, I like the idea of a location list within the rules. They could create rules, and there are some that are location lists. They've sort of, I don't know if they've slid in the rules. I don't know. Do you have any location lists in your area? Let me explain what we refer to now as location lists. And that is, I don't think it's legal anymore to do these. Reviewers could tell us if they're in the chat room. And that is, you go to a location and there are 9 LPCs in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And the cache owner has said the cache is under one of these 9 LPCs. So once you find it, you can move it to one of the other LPCs. I don't know why. I'm a child.
That's probably not legal.
Probably
However, it is a limited geographical region of a parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and I'm a child. I like
move from here to New York, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's different.
Here's what's interesting. I've always told you I disagree with that. I think locationless is stupid. It messes up so many stats, everything else. However, when Chrissy and I were discussing this earlier tonight, I came up with a version that I think would be okay.
Okay.
Because what I'd hate to see is somebody put out 100 locationless caches. You can what's to stop you from putting out thousands of them, right?
Sure.
However, if you had one, if each premium account was only allowed one,
yes,
then it would be like your personal icon, and like you make this cacher, and I get to find your cache because I met you personally.
Yeah.
That would be a super cool. I don't even know how they would make that work, but that's not our problem. We're just coming up with ideas. We don't have to make it real. But imagine if everybody had their own, like each person that had been in the game for a year or been a premium for 5 years or something like that. When that's your reward for being a premium member for 5 years, you get your own personal one only ever lifetime.
One, yes.
From premium, they've already earned their money off of it, right?
Yep.
Personalized locationless cache, like meet Gary Slinker. That's the name of the cache, right?
Yeah.
How awesome would that be? That would be cool. It'd be a whole different thing at events.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you only get it once. You can only find it once. You can't get rid of it.
I think
there's a lot of stipulations you have to do to, maybe you have to like find a certain number of caches, hide a certain number of caches, whatever. Be in the game for 5 years or something. How awesome would that be? That would be cool. Yeah. But I hit 1,000 locationless caches in the parking lot. Oh God, no! Please, please, never let that happen. That is terrible. That is waymarking all over again.
Oh man,
and we've already discussed we need to get rid of waymarking. So let's move on.
Yeah,
just kidding on that one, of course, kidding. But
will do.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
I wasn't sure if Jeff was on board. He put a smiley face, so I think he's talking to people in the chat room. But I don't know if Jeff is on board with our idea. So, Jeff, let us know if you're on board with my idea of the locationless.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It'd have to be no location.
Yeah.
It would have to be something totally separate, like, Adventure Labs, where maybe it counts for your find count, or maybe it's something totally different. Maybe it's a whole other category of, under the community caching things or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have the details, but I'm with you on that one. Your first one.
And my last one is this. I'll put it as a banner because it's easier to kind of talk about when I understand.
But go ahead.
I understand the problem with it, but I would like to see the requirement of the distance between caches halved from 528 or 161 meters down to 264 feet or 80 meters, depending on what you use for your measuring. So I know Jesse's shaking his head going, no.
To me, heck no. That's the only reason to do that is because some areas so saturated. You can't tell me that in every 80 meters there's something cool to go to.
I know.
That's just a saturation issue,
Yeah.
That would, do we need 20 per mile on a power trail? I mean, it's enough,
we're getting both. Yeah. It's funny is that in a short span of time, with me suggesting that, normally my ideas are terrible or nobody likes my ideas, but Hodag likes it. I'd be for that. Andrea, no way, too close. Joe, awesome. She's talking to Memphis. It's just funny to hear. Top Hat, 100% agree.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Jeff's back on the previous one.
Yeah.
So he says, sorry. Personal locationless cache. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of new non-physical geocache types.
I'm with him on that one. I'm actually with him on that one.
But it's not. It's still physical.
It'd be a non-physical cache, really.
Well, no, it's still physical. It's still a container.
It just could be a container, yeah.
Well, I would say it would have to be a physical container. I'm saying you can't do a virtual.
Yeah, but it's moving. What if it had to be not only a physical container, but a specific one you were allowed to buy that comes with your certificate and everything else, like a golden ammo can or something that you had to actually have, not just like I met you, now I get to sign it. I like it. Now it's a physical cache.
Now it's different, right?
Yeah.
Owen, is that every light pole?
That's right.
Every other?
Yeah. You don't have to skip a couple light poles.
Yes, that is right. It's every light pole.
You don't even do power trails, so what are you talking about?
Yeah. This is kind of true. I want a cat. I've got a spot and I want it, but I can't do it because it's too close.
What is special about this spot?
Oh, nothing. I just like it.
Oversaturation.
I like it.
Lame. Just go back to Muncie. You don't even like Geocaching.
Go back to your Muncie, old man.
Okay.
All right. Over to you.
Okay. So here's my ideas, and I'll go through them quickly because we've already talked about a bunch of them. And we're going to run out of time anyway.
I know.
The first one says open some aspects of Adventure Labs and challenges. We kind of already covered that with loosening challenges. That was already on there.
Okay.
We talked about that, so I like that. Now, one that I won't have much time to explain, so I'm going to have to come back to it. I mentioned it before, but add digital souvenirs for certain things. You remember that like night at the museum thing they did?
Yeah.
Where you went and found the treasures? Well, I think they could utilize that platform to do like FTF. First person that claims it, or maybe not that one, or maybe lonely caches. They get if the owner's gone or whatever else, or hadn't been found in a year, a thing pops up on the map, and the first person to go find it after that collects that souvenir.
Yeah.
Just like and it could show on the cache page or whatever else. I don't know where it would show, right? But we know the technology is there now. So it'd be cool to be able to influence behavior like, you know what, this hadn't been checked on a long time, and the cache owners may not be here, so go check on that. And people would race to go check on it because they want that souvenir. Or Travel Bug Hotel. Once in a while, it pops up. Or a cache, let's say a cache has 10 travel bugs in it, and it's been there for a while. Well, they've been there for a month. Nobody's moved them. Ding, a thing pops up, and it says, hey, can somebody go confirm, are these travel bugs still in there?
Sure.
Somebody goes out. There's 7 in there. These 3 are missing. Boop, you get your souvenir. That's cool. That's a cool way to keep quality going out there. But tons of stuff. That's just one I would suggest. All right.
Oh, wait. Before you go on any further, here's my suggestion. Let's take let's take a chunk of the ones that you have and let's do a second show.
Okay.
So
you're getting me excited. I was about to throw all my crazy stuff
I know.
Out there. Okay.
I would say let's keep a good portion of those. We do have a few that we've starred. So I'll let you decide.
Get to those then. Yeah. We can come back to these another night.
Okay. Do you want to do the starred ones?
Yeah, I want to do the starred because people are here and that matters. So
yeah, let's do that.
I'll just go through them. We don't have to put everyone up on the screen, but
okay. Well, I'll pop it up. You'll start with that one.
We kind of covered that.
We kind of covered the website. We need more. Their suggestion is that they want more in the app. They don't want to necessarily take away the stuff on the website. They just want to include more in the apps that you would get on the websites. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a technical question. I don't disagree.
We covered
cache type. We
covered that.
Agree with that. Adoption process to be more straightforward. So, and Top Hat may be able to answer this question too, but I've adopted several caches to other people and from other people. It's a little clunky. I've done a lot of adoption of caches, adoption out to people. Yeah. Because I'll build a cache for somebody.
I've adopted one of yours. Yeah, I adopted one of yours.
Vice versa. I've taken and given, because I've built them and then given them to people. Yeah. Every single time I Google adopt a geocache instead of going through the process on the thing. I shouldn't be doing that. I should know how to do it by now. So I'm going to agree with him that while it's very easy to do, it doesn't feel natural. You know what I mean? And most cachers don't do it very often. Now, having said that, I just want to touch on the fact that this may be longer to get to, but there
Sure.
needs to be an adoption process built into inactive cachers. Somebody leaves the game, there needs to be a way to adopt that cache out. And that's way longer than we can get into tonight, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know they've switched to like, if you put a cache out listed on their site, if you leave the game, that you've given up the right to that property more. You got, somebody's going to come clear it out. So you're supposed to do. If you don't do it, somebody else will.
There needs to be a process. So I think that has to be
part of what they had to build in. Like,
yeah,
if you give this up and leave the game for a year, you've given up the rights to this, and now we're going to adopt it out to the state group or whatever. But
yeah,
that's a whole show in and of itself.
There kind of is, because there needs to be a full process, because there's a difference between the person who just leaves and doesn't take care of their caches and just sort of abandons geocaching versus, say, a dedicated active geocacher who passes away.
Right. Well, you don't want his caches to go away, so something should be built in to have a chance to preserve those caches.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I promise you, I can give a lot of suggestions on that one all night long.
Next one.
I feel like if you have lower than 50 finds, you shouldn't be able to hide. We've gone back and forth on this one a lot. I mean, everybody has a different opinion. There's so many exceptions to this one. It's just smart to have experience before you start hiding caches. It's just smart. I don't know what the number would be or the rules should be or whatever, but 100%, I think everybody agrees you need to have a general idea of what you're doing before you hide a cache, because you can get somebody hurt depending on what area you're in, right? So,
okay. Then let me go back.
There was one more, wasn't there? What happened? Okay. No.
I took it out. Well, it wasn't really a question. It was talking about the reviewers. What makes a good reviewer? That's not really one of the questions. So,
but maybe that's a poll we can do in the future.
Yeah. So you no. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I am going to be sending the letter in the form of a post geocaching on our YouTube on the show tonight. That's all I'm going to do there. So let's see any more. We're starting to wrap up tonight, so if you have one, please put it in the chat room. And Owen should be able to adopt from inactive COs. That's what they were. Owen's
now there'd have to be a whole legal thing behind that. We know that for sure, right? But
yeah,
I think they've been working on that slowly as people sign up to hide. Now you're agreeing to. They've been putting in some of the legalese that they need to have, right? Like if you give up, there's some rights you give up if you hide something and list it and know that we're going to take care. Somebody's going to get rid of it. It's your responsibility, but if you don't do it, we're going to get rid of it. You relinquish all rights to it.
What are your thoughts on? And as I'm going to go back through all the chat room and see. But what are your thoughts on? And this is sort of I don't know how to put this, so I'm just going to attempt to put it. There's a cache in your area. It keeps getting found. There's no real issue with it yet, but you know that there is no longer a CO. CO is gone. They've moved. They've passed away. You know that they're not in the game anymore. It's a zombie cache, right? Did we call those a zombie cache? There's no owner.
Caches.
Do you take it upon yourself to raise your hand in the sense to Geocache to HQ and go, hey, I have a cache in my area that this one has no owner. Just want to let you know there's no owner here. No owner. Or do you just leave it alone and then let it sort of die on the vine? Because eventually
I'll give you my answer, but we won't have time to really discuss it tonight.
Okay.
And it's going to get some backlash.
All right, go for it. I'm going to, like I said, go back through the notes. So if anybody has
the answer is, yes, I do that. I do notify HQ of it, and I do it with an archive. It needs archived.
Even if it's still
maintenance. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
Part of the agreement is that cache owner has to be involved with the game to know if there's some new danger with his cache before he sends people to there, including little kids. Little kids cache by themselves nowadays. I've seen it many times. They're on their bicycle. They go geocaching. They're not smart enough or intelligent enough or not. I don't want to say that. They're not wise enough to avoid some dangerous situations they might if they had an adult with them, right? I either I think it's changed. The terminology has changed, but I put in a notification on the cache page that it doesn't appear that this cache owner is currently active. Hopefully they are, but if they're not, reviewer might want to check on this. I have had several archived because of that.
Yeah.
So obviously we could talk for an hour on which ones would you do, or, all that's web. No. I'm talking about just newer caches, recent caches. We've had this discussion before.
Yeah.
Do I think that's unfair? I don't care. That's part of the agreement, and I see danger in it. So I'm notified. I can't archive caches. I alert the reviewer to it.
Yeah.
I think it's a situation that needs to be monitored.
I agree. Okay. One last question. We're starting to wrap up. So Owen has one suggestion, I should say, not really a question, but suggesting. See what your comment on this. Should require a description and at least three attributes to hide a new cache. Can be done, but be requiring a field entry on build page. So basically, what Owen's saying is you can't click on the submit button until you've done at least three attributes
and a description. There's caches published without a description. I think that's terrible when I see those. It annoys the crap out of me when I see those.
Yeah.
There's no information on that. Yes, I think that should be that, and other things should be that should be part of the minimum requirements you have to do. Like, you shouldn't. That's basic information. All those elements on the page should be addressed. Every one of them. You shouldn't be able to skip any of those elements.
Yeah.
So before you can even hit submit, so the reviewer doesn't have to check that every single time. It should kick back to you. And now, like you just said, why three attributes? I don't know that you need three. I just think that has to be addressed, right? Like you shouldn't be able to do it without touching any of the attributes. Something applies to it.
Sure.
At least one has to apply to every cache.
Right.
Somebody may be able to prove me wrong, but there's something out there for everybody, right?
I agree.
At least it's saying you to a good location, or why is it there? Or, there's parking nearby because it's a power trail. Something applies. I think you should have to address that because so many people skip that, and it's a very useful part of the page. So I don't know if you need three for everyone, 1, 4, 5, whatever, but
I like three. I like that one because at the very least
they should have at least one. Barely.
I agree. I really like the idea of three because think about it. Many of them are plus, minus, or you want to say they're do not. So there's plenty. I mean, one example is that would applies to every geocache, and that is tree climb. If it doesn't require a tree, I mean, you don't have to use that one, but that's just one example, which is tree climb or has the buster through it. It does not require a tree climb. So I mean,
that could apply to everyone, but I mean, obviously there's no tree around.
No, but I guess that's just my example.
Look at that one though, 24/7 or not 24/7. Yeah, that applies. To
there's
everyone,
an example.
Right?
Yeah, Jim.
So
there you go.
I think
Jim's got a good example.
Easy number, but at least one, maybe it's three, and you could somebody could go in with an algorithm and look and see, does this actually apply to everybody?
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine you could have a cache where none of the attributes applied. I don't even know. I don't know how that'd be possible.
Yeah,
I love that. And caches should be a certain. I'm going to get off track because it's so close to one that I wanted to talk about tonight, but I'm not going to. There's no time.
Okay, keep it.
I agree with him. I agree.
We'll 100%. Send another letter. We're going to create a sequel letter to geocaching. We're going to have
to because we didn't touch on any of my ideas. And
I know we got to. Yeah, or Miley. Miley had one.
Miley's got some, and Christy had some too. So the CFO had some as well.
Yeah,
some that won't be popular with some crowds, but
we'll do it soon. We probably will do it before the end of the year. I think there's a spot. Good. There's a spot in December we can do Dear Geocaching Part 2. So
you know what? Let's ask for additional ones to go with that show. Then have people send in to geocachetalk@gmail.com.
Yeah,
if you have anything? Postscript. The postscript
show. We'll do that. Thanks, Jen.
If anybody has additional ones that we didn't get to tonight, or didn't have time, or didn't get to the live show, send those in as well. We'll bundle all those up because I'm sure now this is going to get some things kind of cooking for people. They'll have some ideas, or disagree with some, or whatever. I'd love to hear the second part of this.
Absolutely. And if you don't want to do the poll, do it as a poll question. You can always email us geocachetalk@gmail.com. and that works just as well. And we will put it into our show notes for the PS show for the postscript. So there you go. All right. Great show. Tuesday is Challenge Talk. Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time is Challenge Talk, and mark your calendars, 20 days. And we are going to have a Cavalcade of Stars on.
Mm-hmm.
I've already started to think about how I'm going to redo the room in here because I'm going to have a guest on with me for that show, and that'll be cool to have an in-studio guest for one of the guests, so that'll be fun. And get all your pennies put together and nickels, dimes, and all that. And for the last hour is the Coins for Kids hour. So but look at the list, and pick out the hours that you want to be with us. And we encourage you to be there for all of them. I'm sure that Brad and Jen will fire up and many people will fire up their TVs in their living room and sit back for get some popcorn, buy some pizzas. Pizza Ninja wants you to buy some pizzas and sit back and watch. We've got some great guests, we're running the spectrum of all kinds of stars, and we want to raise 13,000 this year, so it'll be fun. So, all right, great.
I've started training already. I took a big nap today, so I'm in training for this.
Perfect, you're in training. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I got a nap in too. I guess I'm in training too for that. So
that's right.
All right, all right. Well, good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week, or see you Tuesday for a Challenge Talk.
Tuesday, yeah.
Good night, everybody.
May your finds be many, and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.